Kaitlin Armstrong is a woman on the run, and after 3 long weeks, authorities still have not found her. She's wanted for the reported murder of her love rival. Kaitlin is the subject of a huge woman hunt across the world, probably. Kaitlin is wanted for the murder of her love rival, a younger woman named Moriah Mo Wilson. At the center, or the top of this love triangle, as it were, is a man named Colin Strickland. He's a professional cyclist, but he's losing sponsors as we speak. Now, authorities lost track of Kaitlin. Police have been searching for Kaitlin ever since they believe she hopped a plane recently from Texas to LaGuardia in New York, and then they lost track of her. Now, based on a photo I found on Colin's Instagram page, I believe Kaitlin might have escaped to Iceland. Even though Iceland is one of those countries that has an extradition treaty with the U.S., it's also one of the countries that doesn't necessarily honor it. I find it odd that Colin called Kaitlin his friend on Instagram, if this is the same Kait, and I'll show you the photo to let you decide. Her hair looks the same, her build looks the same. This might be the same woman. The woman that the affidavit says they were in a relationship for 3 years and they only took a little break. We can't help but think of Ross and Rachel from Friends, but this is no sitcom here. A young woman lost her life. In this video, we're going to get into all the details of what may have cut the life short of young Mo Wilson. And we'll talk about how jealousy and a love triangle may have caused Kaitlin to go crazy and murder her competition. First off, the U.S. Marshals are encouraging Kaitlin to just turn herself in. They said, look, we're going to find you. Kaitlin is white. She's 5 feet 8 inches tall and 125 pounds. So she has a slightly tall, slender build. Her hair is long and light brown. In the photos, we can see her long hair pulled back or under her cycling helmet, or we might see it in a braid if this is indeed her on Colin's Instagram. Her hair is curly and she has hazel eyes. We don't know if she's cut her hair by now or if she's done anything to change her appearance. People find it a little bold that Kaitlin had her yoga mat just kind of slung on her back, walking through LaGuardia Airport, almost as if she didn't have a care in the world, just going to a yoga class. It's for this reason that some people think perhaps she's gone to Nepal, but my money might be on Iceland. First off, let's talk about ages and birthdays. Police admitted they got Kaitlin's birthday completely wrong. Kaitlin's birthday is November 21st, 1987. It's not in April like police thought, and it was because of that mistake or disparity that she was allowed to leave police custody when they got her in for questioning. So that makes Kaitlin 34 years of age. She will turn 35 in November of 2022. Now, Colin is 35 years of age already. He was also born in November, but he was born November 7th, 1986. Colin's just 1 year older than Kaitlin. With Colin and Kaitlin being together 3 years, I'm pretty sure her biological clock might have been ticking. She probably was ready to get married to Colin. It doesn't seem like he felt the same way about her that she felt about him. According to the Caledonia record, Mo Wilson was only 25 years of age. So Anna was a full decade younger than Colin, and she was quite accomplished. The record says that Anna went home to be with our Lord and Savior on May 11th, 2022. I like the way they wrote her obituary. It really gives you a peek into her accomplishments. It says that Mo passed away in Austin, Texas while she was preparing for the Gravel Locos bike race. Mo was a true athlete, and her love of biking started at a young age. The record says that just a few weeks before her death, Mo made the decision to leave Specialized and become a full-time racer. And no wonder she was doing so good at cycling. She was really excelling in becoming a full-time professional bike racer at only 25. The record listed some links that in lieu of flowers, one could contribute to Mo's memory. But Kait, as Colin called Kait on Instagram, and you can't find much presence of Kait on Colin's Instagram, was just called his friend. And I found that really strange. If the photo from July 27, 2021 is indeed Kaitlin, or Kait as Colin calls her, it's super odd to me that he called her just a friend. It's that distancing language already that he was displaying, and this was during a time when they weren't apparently broken up. This was less than a year before Kaitlin went on the run. Colin posted a photo of a woman. She's looking to the side. She has on her helmet and she has a long braid, so it's hard to see her face, but I've compared her build and her hair coloring and everything, and it really looks like the Kait or Kaitlin that we're talking about, the subject of this huge woman hunt. On Instagram, Colin writes about how he's heading from the Rift, Iceland with my friend Kait. He wrote about seeing some beautiful sights along the way. He says the same Allied bikes we raced, we toured on. Maybe he's bragging about Kaitlin a little bit. He is kind of dissing her by calling her a friend when she should be damn near a fiance, I think, after 3 years together. In real life, we see that Kaitlin told police that Colin was often grumpy with her, and we're going to get into the details. He was grumpy with her because she would slow him down when he wanted to zoom, zoom, zoom. If you watch his videos on Instagram, boy, some of those races are outstanding, amazing. You'll see a cliff on one side and you'll see them racing for dear life. He was good, and I see why he would be attracted to someone like Mo. For the record, Mo's family doesn't seem to like this love triangle mess. Mo wasn't in any type of love triangle at her death. We're going to get into how Mo and Colin went for a swim, and right after Mo was dropped off over her friend's house is seemingly when Kaitlin came sneaking up and did her dirty deed. I only found one other photo of Kaitlin on Colin's Instagram. I had to go way back. It was 132 weeks ago when he posted this photo. It was titled The Ride to the Ride, and it was at 7:29 a.m. And we see the handle with Kaitlin Armstrong across her photo, but that is now deleted. It seems like Kaitlin has wiped clean all her social media accounts. As for Colin's photo, it says Goober across that one. So while Kaitlin was seemingly willing to kill, while Kaitlin was apparently shaking with anger upon finding out that Colin was hanging out with Mo again and they had gone for a swim and went out to eat that fateful night, Colin's just calling Kaitlin a friend on Instagram. He was kind of playing both women to try and get Kaitlin not to discover that he was out with Mo that night. Kaitlin is believed to have shot and killed Mo right after she returned from that swimming trip and went to her friend's house. Kaitlin is a Texan yoga teacher, and U.S. Marshals are just like, give it up, Kaitlin. Deputy U.S. Marshal Brandon Fila, he's leading the case, and he just says to Kaitlin, come forward. He said, surrender to authorities, it's just a matter of time. He said, we are working on this day in and day out. And Fila is offering Kaitlin her day in court. He wants to bring her in safely. He's saying, come on in, tell your side of the story, have your day in court. After Kaitlin safely slipped away from authorities because they got the birth date incorrect, and that caused her to be able to leave when they almost had her just right there. Kaitlin could have flown or driven anywhere after landing in LaGuardia. She could be anywhere. Fila said we kind of lost track. Fila admitted we lost the footprint in the sand after she landed at LaGuardia. Ashley Banfield did a nice little breakdown where she spoke about her team researching all the flights that went out that night from LaGuardia and which ones have extradition treaties and which ones don't. That's why Ashley thinks that Kaitlin could be in Nepal, but I'm thinking my money's on Iceland. I'm not sure if Kaitlin has been to Nepal before, and I'm not sure if she would stick out like a sore thumb. Since she's been to Iceland before, part of me thinks she would just go there to relive the time she had with Colin and just try and blend in somewhere, maybe somewhere obscure. In the meantime, Colin has also gone underground, but he's not a suspect. Police are making it clear Colin is not involved directly in this thing. Colin fears for his life too. Colin does not know what Kaitlin might do. People didn't expect Kaitlin to commit such a heinous crime anyway. So people don't know what Kaitlin is literally capable of. So according to Colin's friend who spoke with the Daily Mail, Colin has gotten the heck out of Dodge. He's not in Texas, but the friend is not giving up Colin's location. And that makes sense. Colin worries that Kaitlin might target him next. I mean, rightly so. Maybe that's something he should worry about. If she was so angry to do away with Mo, is she just going to stay gone on the run now? Or could she come back and literally target Colin too? It's doubtful, but I can understand why he would be afraid. Colin's friend told the Daily Mail, none of us can sleep. He is staying out of sight until she's caught. The friend knows where he is, but he's not saying. Part of me is thinking, what if Kaitlin isn't caught for years and decades. You know those people who are successfully able to go on the run and just disappear into a crowd, change their appearance so much that people don't know who they are and just blend in and get new identities? Now, even though Colin Strickland is not a suspect, he is still being affected by this. He is losing sponsors left and right. I think Red Bull might be sticking with Colin. I'm not sure. Folks on Twitter have told me that, oh, it's just a helmet, or I thought Colin had a huge Red Bull sponsorship. In fact, that's what most people mention. You can look on his social media and see videos of these nice storylines and backgrounds and all of his work as a cyclist. However, he's losing sponsors. Allied Cycle Works says that Colin is not expected to represent them at future races. Specialized, Rafa, Envy, and the Meteor have all terminated their contracts with him. And when we look at his kind of shady moves and dealings, not his guilt, but just how his character appears in this situation, you can kind of see why some sponsors maybe dropped him. But in the meantime, let's talk about Kaitlin's shady past. The fact that Kaitlin already had a separate arrest warrant out for her for skipping out on some $650 Botox shots is what helped police bring her in the first place. Police brought her in, and they brought her in only to let her go the day right after the killing. But Kaitlin had a 2018 larceny charge for a Travis County spa where she went in, she got $650 worth of Botox shots, and then pretended that she wanted to use a different credit card. She had her MasterCard there, but then she said, oh, I want to use a different card. She supposedly went out to her car to go get her other card. Nope, she left. So that larceny charge was what helped police bring her on in, question her, but because of that birth date mix-up or snafu, they let her go, and now she's gone. But Kaitlin has been charged in the death of the fellow cyclist Mo. Mo sounds like she was such a stronger athlete than Kaitlin, and she probably had no idea of the danger she was facing just by going for a swim with Colin and out to eat. She probably thought, oh, I'm just going out with this guy, and there's a race coming up, and fine, let's go have a swim, a little cardio training session, go get something to eat, and then I'm off home with my friend. She likely had no idea that this crazy woman Kaitlin was waiting in the wings, shaking with anger. It was the night of May 11th when Mo went to her friend's house, and that friend is also named Kaitlin, so it's a little confusing, but we'll pick out the best parts of the affidavit. That's where Mo had been staying because she was from San Francisco. Her friend came home to find Mo bleeding. Her friend called 911. I found a quick snippet of that dispatch.
7812 in Master, Tech Welfare Urgent, 1708 Maple Ave. EMS cleared for unconscious female on the ground who's behind this location. Supervisor clear.
EMT 390 clear.
And that was it. Unfortunately, she expired. It was May 11th, around 9:56 p.m. when authorities got the 911 call that there was a woman in trouble. I am wondering how Kaitlin found out what was going on, in spite of all Colin's attempts to confuse the situation and lie and pretend that he was doing something else, a good deed for a friend and bringing flowers and all this other stuff. I wonder if Kaitlin put a tracker on Colin or something. Either way, Kaitlin found out what was happening. When officers arrived at the location, they found Kaitlin Cash, a different woman, this is Mo's friend, performing CPR on her. They saw that Mo had multiple defects on her body, believed to be gunshot wounds. The cops also found multiple fired cartridge cases near the body, but they didn't find a gun anywhere. Wilson was pronounced dead at 10:10 p.m. It's going to be interesting to note where Kaitlin likely got that murder weapon from, too, which is another reason people are questioning Colin, because of him purchasing a couple of guns for Colin and Kaitlin prior to the murders, and of course he might have just been purchasing them for their protection, not for any other reason. Kaitlin Cash, we'll call her Cash to avoid all this confusion. Cash told police that Mo was indeed her friend who was a professional cyclist. She was visiting from San Francisco, and Cash had just picked up Mo on May 10th, the day before, from the airport. Mo was there in Austin because she was preparing for the upcoming bicycle race in Hicko, Texas, coming up that weekend. On May 11th, the day of her murder, Cash had gotten a text from Mo, and Mo said, "Look, I'm going to go swimming with my friend Colin." So Cash came home and just talked to Mo a little bit about, "Oh, okay, you're going to go off with Colin swimming," and Cash left the home around 5:30 to go have dinner. Now, as Cash was leaving, she saw that Mo had a large travel cycle on an elevated porch near the front door. Cash went back inside and told Mo, "You might want to move that bag inside so no one will steal it." So Cash went off and ate with her friends, and then by the time she came back home, she noticed that big travel bag, cycling bag, had been moved near the base of the stairs. Mo's bag had been moved at the bottom of the stairs near blocking the carport. So Cash went inside her residence. This was 2 minutes before she would end up calling 911. And that's when she noticed the front door of her residence was unlocked. So that had to be her first uh-oh. That's when she saw, unfortunately, her friend Mo covered in blood, lying in the bathroom. No one else was in the house. I mean, it had to be frightening and heartbreaking and unimaginably horrific to find Mo that way, a young 25-year-old girl. A 25-year-old girl at the prime of her life, ready to launch her professional biking career. Cash did notice that Mo's Specialized S-Works bike had been stolen, but she didn't see anything else missing. But when police checked the area, they found Mo's bike. It wasn't actually stolen. It was about 68 feet south of Cash's residence, hidden in some bamboo. It appears as if someone had tried to make it look like it were a robbery, as if Mo were the victim of this random robber. Maybe that's what Cash thought too at first, but pretty soon, all fingers pointed towards Kaitlin. So Cash told police, "Look, Mo went swimming with this Colin Strickland guy." And she gave him the breakdown. She told police Colin lives in the Austin area. He's sponsored by Red Bull. So cops were able to pretty quickly pinpoint Colin Strickland, see his photos online, see that he's sponsored by Red Bull, figure out he lives in the Austin area, and get all his info. Cash told police that her door opens with a unique code. And whenever someone uses that unique code, Cash gets an alert on her phone, so she'll know when her door is unlocked. And her electronic lock also has a button that lets her know when the door is locked. Cash did give Mo a unique code to use while she was staying with her. So Cash shows the cops her phone. The detective sees there was a notification at 5:55 p.m. showing the door was locked. So that means Mo was likely leaving after Cash had already left to go with her friends to dinner. And that's when Mo left to go swimming with Colin. She left at 5:55 p.m. The next notification that Cash got was at 8:36 p.m., indicating that Mo was coming home. So it seems that Mo and Colin weren't together too long. I'm not sure of all the travel times, but if Mo left her friend Cash's house close to 6 p.m., she's already back by 8:36 p.m. That's only 2.5 hours to get a good swim in. I'm not sure how many laps they did, get some food, and just come on back home to her friend Cash's house. That's when police were able to pinpoint surveillance video footage now that they had those unique times to know when Mo left and when Mo returned. That had to be a great help in pulling surveillance footage from across the street to know who could have done this. That's when cops pulled surveillance footage from a neighboring camera, and they saw that at 8:37, 1 minute after Mo came home, there was a suspicious vehicle right there on the street. It was a dark-colored SUV that slowed down, and it appeared to come to a stop right near Cash's residence where Mo was. It was an SUV that appeared to have a large bicycle rack on the trailer hitch mounted. It looked like it had a luggage rack on the roof and seemingly chrome around the windows. Cops didn't see any other vehicles coming by except that dark SUV one until emergency vehicles arrived. So they were able to really narrow down who might have committed this crime. The very next day, May 12th, authorities drove over to Colin's house and they observed a vehicle in his driveway. They observed a 2012 Jeep Cherokee with a Texas license plate. And this vehicle had a large bicycle rack mounted on the trailer hitch. It had a luggage rack mounted on the roof, and it had chrome around the windows. So bingo, cops thought, this looks like the vehicle we saw from last night's surveillance footage creeping around Cash's residence where Mo was shot. They also saw a 2002 BMW motorcycle, a 1998 Mercedes, and the 2012 Jeep Grand Cherokee. If you look through Colin's Instagram videos, like I've searched through plenty of them, you will see that he likes to tinker and work on a lot of things, like a motor home type vehicle and other vehicles. So it's no wonder he would have several vehicles at his residence. So Colin agreed to go with the detective and just go talk. The detective said he could leave the interview at any time. Now, Colin told police that he did live with his girlfriend, Kaitlin. I'm not sure how long they actually lived together versus how long they've dated. And I'm not sure if during that break that we're going to talk about, if they moved out or if they still considered themselves living together. It was only like a 2-week breakup. So Colin told police that he had been dating Kaitlin for about 3 years, but he said they briefly ended their relationship only 1 or 2 weeks in October of 2021. Were they just not talking to each other? Were they just sleeping in separate bedrooms and still living together? If they only broke up for 1 or 2 weeks in October of 2021, why did he call her his friend back in July of 2021? Was he not ready to go Instagram official with her? There's the other photo, the race before the race or what have you, with another person in the photo. Was he making it seem like to the world that he was kind of a single guy, keeping his options open? But it was during this little 1 or 2 week break that Colin met Mo. Isn't that convenient that he so happened to meet her right when he had a 1 or 2 week breakup with his girlfriend? So Mo and Colin had a romantic relationship according to the affidavit briefly before he started dating his girlfriend Kaitlin again. But this should have been his first warning. Colin told police that while he was dating Mo, Kaitlin called Mo and said, "Look, I'm the one he's dating." Now that's a problem right there. It's like Kaitlin didn't take it up with Colin. Kaitlin didn't take it directly to Colin, her problems, saying, "Look, don't date someone else," or "I don't like this," or "These are my boundaries." Kaitlin reached out to Mo and said, "Look, I'm his girlfriend." That's a problem. It's a problem when any other woman feels like she has to go after the other woman instead of addressing the issue with the man at the center of the relationship. So at that point, that's when the phone trickery starts happening. Colin told police he had to change Mo's name in his phone, change the contact to some other name so that Kaitlin would not know when he's contacting Mo. He said he had to change the name because he said it was Kaitlin who blocked Mo's number in his phone. So first of all, what is Kaitlin doing on Colin's phone? What is she doing blocking Mo's number? And I'm not sure how that would work anyway, if it's the same number but a different name and the numbers blocked. It's just confusion. But you can just see Kaitlin overstepping her bounds. If Colin's wanting to go talk to Mo, there's nothing Kaitlin could really do to stop that short of what she ultimately is accused of doing, murdering Mo. But it seems like Kaitlin kept taking up the issue with the wrong person. Colin did the shiftiness too. He started deleting text messages so Kaitlin wouldn't find them on his phone. She sounds pretty snoopy. So, Colin went over to Cash's residence and picked up Mo on his motorcycle about 5:45 p.m. That's why we see the alert went off around 5:55 p.m. that night, because that's when Mo was leaving Cash's house. She's on the motorcycle with Colin, and they're off to go swimming. They went to the City of Austin Deep Eddy pool. After Mo and Colin finished swimming, they walked over to Pool Burger to get something to eat. After they walked to Pool Burger and finished eating, Colin dropped Mo off back at Cash's residence. Now, Colin told police he didn't see anyone nearby. He probably had all eyes on Mo. He noted that the garage door was closed, and Colin didn't go inside the residence. He promptly dropped Mo off and left. So Colin left, and that's when he starts sending the fake text messages. He drives northward through an alleyway until East Martin Luther King Jr. Boulevard, and he stops. He starts sending these text messages to Kaitlin, keeping up the ruse so she wouldn't find out where he really was. Colin sent this text message to Kaitlin at 8:36 p.m. that night. "Hey, are you out?" Yes, she was out all right, killing Mo, unfortunately. I went to drop off some flowers for Allison at her son's house up north and my phone died. Isn't that eerie that he mentioned that phone dying right at that point? Heading home unless you have other food suggestion. So he was lying about his whereabouts. So Colin zipped on home on his motorcycle and arrived home at 8:43 p.m. When he was close to home, he sent Kaitlin another text message. Apparently, she hadn't texted him back. But Colin was close to home when he sent that text message, and after he arrived home at 8:43, he remembers going into his garage, tinkering with his bikes for an upcoming race. While he was in the garage, he sent Kaitlin another text message at 9:21 p.m. He was probably like, where is she? So not long after he sent that text message at 9:21, Kaitlin drives up and she's driving that 2012 Jeep Grand Cherokee with all the rack and the bike stuff and everything, the chrome around the windows. And Colin told police Kaitlin was by herself in the vehicle. Colin spoke very highly of Mo throughout the interview and all of her accomplishments. Colin told police, okay, Mo is this professional cyclist. I'm helping her get sponsorships. He called her the best professional cyclist in the U.S. and possibly in the world. What a loss that is when you think about that. Her athletic abilities, Mo's talents, who knows what she could have been. Now, when Colin talked about Kaitlin was a participant while Colin considered himself a racer. You know, he was a real racer. It was almost as if Kaitlin was just tagging along as some type of participant, slowing him down, we'll see. And Colin had even told Kaitlin that, she doesn't need to race with him because she, quote, holds him back is the literal quote. And he probably just didn't want her tagging along. Guys know if they really want someone like Colin wanted Mo, I'm sure, they know how to go after what they want. And Colin obviously had this athletic admiration for Mo and her talents and her skills, and he probably just wanted to be with her. But Kaitlin just was like hanging on, it seemed. Colin did tell police that Kaitlin feels like Colin is grumpy because, she's holding him back. She can't race at a professional level like he can. Colin told police, too, that Jeep Cherokee, the one seen on surveillance footage, that belongs to Kaitlin. He doesn't drive it. This is the part where people are a little like, Colin admitted to police that he bought 2 firearms, one for himself and one for Kaitlin, around December 2021 and January 2022. He bought himself a handgun, and he purchased another handgun for Kaitlin. He told police he did not know where Mo was staying, and he had never been to Cash's residence before. I'm assuming that night when he picked her up and dropped Mo off, that was the first time Colin must have been there. Colin didn't know that Kaitlin knew anyone in the area where the murder occurred. Cops did find the 2 firearms in the residence that Colin told them he had purchased for himself and Kaitlin. That's when cops found out that Kaitlin had this outstanding arrest warrant for the Botox debacle. So they took Kaitlin, apprehended her, and brought her in for questioning. But this is where the mistake happened. Detective Connor was told that the Class B warrant against Kaitlin wasn't valid and she was free to leave. Major snafu. The door was open. But at least they got to question Kaitlin. They got some questions in. They asked Kaitlin, has she heard what happened in the last 24 hours? Kaitlin nodded her head and said that Colin told her that one of the girls in the cycling community had passed away. Kaitlin was very still and did not move at all as they spoke. I can just imagine this interrogation video in my head. Police confronted Kaitlin on how Colin was, quote, talking to this girl, but Kaitlin just remained very still, didn't move. Then cops hit her with the video evidence that they had, and she still was quiet, didn't move. She had no explanations why that surveillance footage showed the car in the area. She didn't make any denials about it, though. It's not like she said, that's not my car, that's not me. Sounds like she was just completely still. Perhaps she was shell-shocked. Maybe she didn't know cops had that much info on her. Cops dropped the hammer on her and said, look, Kaitlin, basically we know that Colin went out with Mo and you were angry about it. And that's when Kaitlin starts rolling her eyes. So at the mention of that, situation, Kaitlin rolled her eyes and turned her head in an angry manner, the affidavit says. Then Kaitlin said, quote, I'm certain as to even what you mean. I wonder if they meant to type, I'm not certain as to what you even mean, because that doesn't make sense. I'm certain as to what you even mean, or what he said, because I didn't have any idea that he saw or even went out with this girl. As of recently, police confronted Kaitlin again about how her vehicle was seen in the area near Cash's residence and how Colin was saying certain things. Basically, Colin was throwing her under the bus like, look, you know? Detective Connor wanted Kaitlin to explain what really happened and just give her a logical explanation. Why were you in the area of Cash's house? Seemingly, Detective Connor tried that good cop thing. Maybe you were upset and just in the area. So Kaitlin started to nod in agreement. Detective Connor told Kaitlin, look, things don't look too good. All these statements that are being made, the video showing your vehicle in the area, and Kaitlin seemingly nodded in agreement. Again, she didn't deny what the detective was saying, but it's like she didn't make an admission either of guilt. They started pressing her, look, why was your vehicle there? Armstrong just remained very still and seemingly wouldn't speak. It doesn't sound like she gave a lot of statements as to what her vehicle was doing there. She was very guarded as she spoke, says the affidavit. That's when she asked to leave, and that's when they lost her. But on May 13th, 2022, cops got more information from this person who's going to be called Jane. Jane wanted to remain anonymous, and I don't blame her, because Jane had information to spill about Kaitlin, and she didn't want to become a target either. I see people are afraid of Kaitlin, and I don't blame them. Jane says that Colin and Mo had multiple romantic relationships together and that it was an on-again, off-again type of relationship. Jane is making it sound like their relationship wasn't just a 1 or 2 week thing. So Jane says, and that corroborates with what Colin says, that Mo and Colin's relationship started during Mo's first trip to Austin in the fall of 2021. That's when Jane said Kaitlin was going a little cuckoo. Kaitlin found Mo's phone number and she kept contacting Mo, and that's when Mo blocked Kaitlin. Jane also said that in the past 2 months, Mo told Jane that Kaitlin had found Mo on Instagram and started following her. Stalk her much? And that's when the last time Jane says that Mo heard from Kaitlin. Caitlin's like, look, I'm with Colin and you need to stay away from him. Now on May 14th, 2022, an anonymous caller provided more information to police. The caller wouldn't even say their name, so even though police know who this Jane person is, this person, they wouldn't even say their name. But the caller did say that she was with Kaitlin in January of 2022. That's when Kaitlin figured out that Colin and Mo were seeing each other, even though Kaitlin and Colin were still together. This caller said that Kaitlin was so angry she was shaking with fury. And this caller said that Kaitlin was so mad, so furious, that she literally said she wanted to kill Mo. This caller also told police that they knew at that point in January of 2022, just a few months ago, they knew that Kaitlin had just purchased a firearm or was planning to. In going through all the text messages and the data, cops found a text message string from Mo to Colin. So Mo texted Colin. She said, hey, so I would like to talk to you at some point. I had originally texted you on Friday, but it appears my texts aren't going through again. This weekend was strange for me, and I just want to know what's going on. If you just want to be friends, seems to be the case, then that's cool. But I'd like to talk about it because honestly, my mind has been going in circles and I just don't know what to think. So obviously Mo was confused. We're going to get a little bit of insight as to what might have happened that weekend when Colin replies. But I think he was just kind of playing the field and trying to play these women, and who knows if there are any more women he was playing, but just not being true to any of them. Colin replied the next day, hey Mo, I feel very for putting you in a position where you don't feel comfortable. Kaitlin came along the go-to a meeting about the Sprinter Spartan Hotel project. In hindsight, this was not a good idea. So cops are saying, based off this conversation, it seems like Mo was under the impression that she was still in a romantic relationship with Colin, maybe long distance, though it may be, even though Colin was still living with Kaitlin. So I could see why Mo would be confused. And cops are calling this anonymous caller a credible witness because they know that Colin told them he did indeed purchase firearms in December of 2021 and January of 2022, around that time, for him and Kaitlin. And then on May 15th, cops were still canvassing the area in that neighborhood of Kaitlin Cash's house where the murder of Mo Wilson occurred. They were approached by a man named David Harris. Harris owns the property and he rents that space over the attached garage to Cash. Now, the night of the murder, between 8:30 and 9:30, he walked into his garage and he partially raised the garage door. After he raised that door, he told cops he heard someone running down the stairs that led to Cash's front door. That's when he thought he saw a bicycle traveling southbound through the alleyway away from Cash's apartment. So that was most likely Kaitlin taking Mo's bike away, everything symbolic of what Mo did better than her, trying to play into that bike theft storyline. But she was caught and released. They give a breakdown corroborating what Colin told them. Yes, indeed, they went to the Pool Burger place. On May 17th, 2022, the 9mm gun that belonged to Kaitlin that had been recovered from Colin's place was tested. It was test-fired using laboratory ammunition. That fired test cartridge was compared microscopically to the shell casings they found near Mo's body, and they believe there's strong evidence that that was the weapon indeed used in the crime. So all of Colin's statements have been corroborated through video evidence and physical evidence, and Colin is cooperating with the police. Kaitlin is the only one who lives with Colin and has access to that 9mm gun. The video evidence also shows when Colin left Cash's residence after dropping Mo off. And then it shows Kaitlin's vehicle arriving at Cash's residence soon thereafter. All of these facts make Kaitlin look like one guilty girl. A detective was able to view Kaitlin's Instagram account the day after the murder on May 12th, 2022. But now the detective found it's been deleted. Will they find Kaitlin Armstrong is the main question. Her photo needs to be plastered everywhere. This is obviously a dangerous, psychotic woman who decided to take her jealousy and hate into her own hands and literally try and kill the competition. Why would she do that? Why would she take the life and soul of a young lady instead of just breaking up with Colin, moving on, and meeting another guy who would have been serious about her? Strangeness. Very strange. Stay tuned. Let's close with Revelation 21:2-4. I saw the holy city, the new Jerusalem, coming down out of heaven from God, prepared as a bride, beautifully dressed for her husband. And I heard a loud voice from the throne saying, "Look, God's dwelling place is now among the people, and he will dwell with them. They will be his people, and God himself will be with them and be their God. He will wipe every tear from their eyes. There will be no more death or mourning or crying or pain, for the old order of things has passed away." Boy, we can't wait for days like that after we cover cases like this. I'm so sorry to the family and friends of Mo Wilson. She seems so beautiful, talented, athletic, amazing, with her whole future ahead of her, only 25 years old. The most we can pray for is not that so much hate is directed at Colin. Maybe it can be a learning lesson for guys who try and play girls and make themselves king and maybe are a little selfish, and girls who do the same. Also really for Kaitlin to turn herself in, come out of hiding wherever she is, and just do the right thing, surrender, repent, and everyone try and move forward the best they can. It's a learning lesson for everyone that love triangles just don't work. It's a lesson that we just pray that Mo's soul is at rest in heaven and that her loved ones and friends will see her again one day, and that she's racing in heaven faster than she's ever raced, receiving all the awards she ever wanted. Thank you so much for watching. Stay tuned for updates to this tragic case.